Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have JP. JP is an author and he's from Canada. So let's see what JP has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello JP, I'm very well. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
How is your day being so far?
Busy.
Great, very good. Okay, JP, so before we start the game, tell me where you're from.
I am from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
And what's the best part of living there?
Best part of living here, I would say that we get 4 seasons. So you get to experience winter for 6 months, and then we get a beautiful summer, not too many bugs, and a gorgeous fall. We have a river that goes through the city center, and the riverbanks on each side are parks. So we have actually a connecting parkway system that is bigger than New York's Central Park.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So in the fall, especially when I'm at work downtown in a high rise, I get to see all the changing colors and whatnot. So this is really pretty.
Amazing. And so are you more close, where is based your style? Is more close to Vancouver or Toronto or where?
Closer to Vancouver, although Vancouver's still a 12-hour drive from where I am. So a lot of people might be familiar with Calgary. The Olympics were held there. We're 3 hours north of Calgary.
I see. I've been in Canada 3 times. Actually, I just came back 5 weeks ago, but in Montreal, in the French side, yes, far away from you. My best friend, he lives there. And so yeah, it was the first time that I spent Christmas there in the winter time. And it was very good, I must say.
Awesome.
Actually, let me show you something what I brought from there. Still here.
Maple syrup. Fantastic.
Very good. Okay, JP, and what do you do for a living?
I am an analyst with our provincial healthcare organization, and I assist frontline physicians with their electronic charting system. So when they have requests for make the system do this, I go into the system and make it do that. But at night, I'm an author as well.
Yes, I was about to say that. So tell me a little bit about your career as an author.
Oh, well, my first published work was in 2017, and it won an award. It was the best gay alternate universe / reality for 2017 from the Rainbow Awards. So
amazing.
I'll take it.
Amazing. And what's your what do you write about? What is the main topic of your writing?
If it goes bump in the night, I love it. I like magic and demons and witchcraft, and so anything that's urban fantasy, supernatural, that's my jam, as you might be able to tell from
yes,
the assorted objects on my writing desk.
Very good. Okay, JP, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
I think so.
Welcome to William
Magic Box.
Yeah, I've got here a lovely box. Fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question. Let's do it. Right, so just before we start the game, through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason or you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? All very friendly. First question for you is, what is one food you could eat for the rest of your life?
Oh, that's so hard because I love food. I'm going to say two different things.
Okay.
Lasagna. I love Italian food, but lasagna, it's so yummy. And sushi.
Oh, wow. And
I love sushi.
And do you like cooking?
No, I hate cooking. I hate it. I can do it. I'm okay at it. My husband's the cook. I am more than happy to go into the kitchen afterwards and clean it top to bottom. I hate cooking.
And what's the most traditional food around your area, or let's say in Canada, or around where you come from?
Oh, we have such a multicultural city. Really, I can get what I think is good food from a variety of different countries. We spend a lot of time in Mexico. We have a condo there, so I mean, good Mexican food in Canada is generally hard to come by, but we even have a couple of good Mexican restaurants here. Lots of Japanese, lots of good Vietnamese places, some really good Indian places as well. Yeah, there's a little bit of everything. I mean, yeah, you won't starve here.
Next question, let's do it. Next question, JP. What's the biggest difference between you and your best friends?
Biggest difference? I think I'm probably the darkest. My mind always goes off into that kind of weird place where I'm laughing hysterically at myself because I've come up with some bizarre serial killer analogy, and my friends are all like, okay. But I mean, it kind of reflects the stuff I like to write, so.
That's what I'm about to ask you now. It's always like a reflection what you like to write.
It likes to wallow in the darkness.
I see. And your best friends, they live as well the same city as you, or all over the place?
We have some friends scattered all over the place. We like to travel, and so we meet new people and have friends scattered across the U.S. and Mexico. A few in the UK. Yeah, lots of fun.
Very good. Next question. I like your moves. JP, before the next question, tell me what do you like the most about your job, and what's the most challenging part?
My day job or my night job?
Let's say about your day job first.
Okay, cool. I think the most challenging part is because I'm dealing with physicians who are actively treating patients. Like, they're sometimes calling me with a patient right at their bedside. A lot of what they're asking for is, I need it now, like right now. So there's a lot of prioritization in learning what you have to drop and start working on right now. And over the past couple of years, with the state of the world and the way it has been, that has been challenging, and it's stressful when you get those phone calls and you can hear the stress and anxiety and exhaustion in their voices when I call.
I see. And do you think through this pandemic situation, do you think it made your job more challenged?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot more requests coming in and with a lot more urgency. And I mean, because I work with a computer, there are times that I have to configure something, but by the time it actually gets into their environment, which is live and they've got patients there, it can take a couple of days to get there, because we always want to test what we've built to make sure that it's working. If I don't do something right, there's a potential I could kill patients. I don't want to do that. So we've got to make sure that things work the way they're supposed to. And so again, with that urgency of I need it now, it's like, So sometimes good, sometimes the challenge is, ooh, that's technically difficult. I got to figure that one out. And sometimes it's just that got to have it now.
Very good. Next question is, what is the worst thing someone can say on a first date?
Oh, well, I haven't had a first date in many, many years. I've been married for 24 years, so.
Wow,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my husband and I have been together for a very long time. So the worst thing that somebody could do on a first date. I think probably the worst thing would be constant negativity. You know, you start having a conversation and like, oh, I don't like that. Or you express, you know, your interest and it's like, yeah, well, that doesn't really, you know, turn my crank. So it's that constant kind of wet cloud, wet blanket, dark cloud.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I think in the first date, you need to come with this open-minded positivity, approach.
Somebody new experiences, new things, open mind. You can learn so many things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And saying that, through those 24 years of relationship with your husband, what is the most beautiful lesson you've learned from him so far?
Oh, from him? Oh, goodness. So there's been a lot of things. I think communication, which is probably, you know, everybody says that, but it's really true. And I think the art of letting go. So when you spend that much time with one individual, you change and grow, as do they. And sometimes they change and grow in places that you're like, well, what? Wait a minute. And believe me, he puts up with my crazy. So I totally know that he's had to do the same thing with me. Understanding when it's okay to just go, I maybe don't like that, but it's okay. Not everything can be a fight or an argument, right? Sometimes you just have to let it go.
Absolutely. Good one. Next question, JP. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what is your most embarrassing moment?
Oh, I try to avoid those like the plague. I hate being embarrassed. Oh my goodness. Usually it's after I've drank a little bit too much and done something really silly, and then the next day I think back and go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
It happened to all of us. It happened to all of us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I would have probably thought was horrifyingly embarrassing. Other people would have been, no, my God, you were hilarious. This was awesome. And I can't even watch, like, you know, the Adam Sandler movies. They really play up that whole awkward, embarrassing moment. I can't even watch those. Like, I have to leave the room. I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. So, and believe me, I'm wacky enough that regularly I'm the next day going, I can't believe I said that.
It happen a lot or not really? You kind of watch yourself.
I try, but every now and then, every good handful of years, there's bound to be a, oh, I can't.
That's funny. Welcome to the club. It happens to all of us. Next question. Okay, as you mentioned before about your night job, I believe as an author, yeah? So tell me, what's the most enjoyable part of it? What do you like the most? And of course, there's always a challenge part as well. What that would be?
I think the fun part is you can create anything you want. As long as you stick to the rules of your own creation, right? You can't go completely hog wild, but you get to build worlds and people, and you can play out the scenes in so many different ways and how things can maybe work. And it's letting your imagination run completely amok. and seeing what happens. That to me is the fun. I get to explore all those little dark nooks and crannies without the police getting involved.
It's a dark side there, throwing up, like coming out. And what's the most challenging part of it?
The challenging part, so my very, very first novel that I sat down and wrote, I didn't have a hot clue what I was doing. Like I have one creative writing course from a university level. That's it. But I've read and read and read and read. I read about 50 books a year-ish. After reading so many books, I was like, I can do this. I need to do this. And the books that I was reading, I wasn't seeing people like me in those books. So I was like, I want to create urban fantasy books that have LGBTQ main characters. And they are the stars of the books. They're the heroes of the books. They're the villains of the books. They're the monsters in the books. Whatever. I wanted to make sure that that was represented. Because when I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, we didn't have that. I mean, there was the odd one, but nothing like there is today. So I wanted to create that. The challenge is that there are rules to writing. So you can be as creative as you want, and you can go as amok as you want. But in the end, the publishing industry is like, there are rules. You need to follow these rules if you want to be published. If you want to, have your book be seen by people, there are rules. So I didn't know the rules at first. Still kind of learning some of them. But that's why I have editors. So
can you share one of those like rules that it kind of makes your job or your creation a bit challenge or harder?
Sure. So there's something called an info dump. When you are building a world and say like a magic system or a hierarchy of demons and whatnot, you want to explain that to your readers so that they understand your world. Because if you can't understand the world that you're bringing your reader through, then they're confused, and you want to avoid that, right? You have to be able to enjoy the story and see the images in your head as you're reading. But you can't take 4 or 5 pages and just go, okay, here's my world. You have to give people little nuggets, pieces of information as you tell the story. And I compare it to an IV drip, because you want to constantly just give little nuggets of, and that way people explore and learn the world that you're building throughout the course of the entire book, as opposed to 4 pages and then a story.
I see. So in a way, it's kind of like some tactics to get to people to understand the book, or to get people more, let's say, attached to the book, to the story itself. It's more explaining about more than, I see. Okay, now I understand. It's just so you need to consider that as well when you're writing, when you're putting there your ideas. Wow.
Yeah, and so when you write the book the first time, it's like, okay, this is kind of fun. I enjoy that. And then you go through it again, and everybody's process is different. But I mean, the second time I go through it, it's like, oh, I can't say that there. And so you rip things out, you take them apart, and rebuild paragraphs, destroy whole chapters, rebuild them, create new ones. Like I just am starting the 3rd round of edits for my book that's coming out in May. And yeah, even now I'm like, oh, I can't say that there. Gotta put that over here. And my editor's like, what are you doing?
It's a hard work for sure.
It's fun though. I did the first time as an intellectual challenge.
Yeah.
Now it's just fun.
Very good. Next question for you is, what was your worst wardrobe mistake?
Okay. The year that my husband and I got together, it was right around Halloween. So I already had my Halloween costume kind of ready to go. And so I had on I had on leather chaps and a cod piece and a harness, but on the back of the harness I had made these massive leather bat wings. Wow. And I had gone to one of the theater stores here, and I had gotten some prosthetic devil horns, and I molded them onto my forehead with the skin kind of around the horn, so it looked like they were actually erupting out of my skull, and did a little bit more makeup just to kind of make everything look a little demonish. And we went to a house party that was being hosted by some of his friends and two lesbians. And I didn't really realize that my leather cod piece was a little low. So everybody got a really good look that year.
Oh my God. I'm sure it was like an entrance of your...
Oh yeah, everybody was like, oh, this is the new boyfriend. Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting. Not to mention leather and bat wings.
You want to get the attention of everyone, and I'm sure it happens. I'm sure.
I got the attention, that's for sure.
Next question, JP. Let's do it. Next question for you is, okay, we are talking about, okay, let's go. What was the biggest punishment you ever had?
Oh. Can I twist that a little?
Yes.
So I don't know if I would say punish. So self-imposed punishment. How about that? My coming out process was not easy. So for me, I didn't come out until I was 21. I was just on the verge of completing my education degree at university, and the last semester, I kind of had the revelation of you need to come to terms with why you feel different and all the rest of it. So that put me into a rather large spiral, to the point where I had my professors pulling me into their office and going, what is going on? You're not handing in your assignments. I was kind of going through some stuff. And when I told one professor what I was dealing with, she said, you need to remove yourself from the semester and figure stuff out. You need to be okay with living in your own skin. And so I withdrew from university without penalty, but I never went back. I was 6 weeks away from graduating and I never went back. And that to me is probably my biggest regret. And also the biggest self-imposed punishment was that whole process. And looking back on it, when I got the nerve to start telling my friends, because family didn't come for many years later, but when I started telling my friends, they were all like, well, we're glad you finally figured it out. We had it figured out long ago. So I had a very welcoming group of people that accepted me for who I was, but I didn't accept me for who I was for a long time.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, JP. I think it's a very personal story. When that happened to you, did your family interfere somehow, or you couldn't have your family involved in that situation at the time?
I don't, my family were good people. We just never really gelled as a family unit. So growing up, I had a younger brother and then my parents. And my younger brother's, he's a great guy, but he's 6 years younger than I am. And so we were always kind of at a very different place in our lives growing up. And at the minute I turned 18, I moved out because I was like, I can't be here. And part of it was because I knew I was different, and it wasn't that my parents were being unwelcoming, but they were they were very much that, 1970s, 80s nuclear family kind of thing. And coming out in the 80s, well, I mean, it was HIV and AIDS when I finally kind of went, I think I like boys. And that was terrifying because everything you saw in the news, people were dying. And I didn't want to put myself into a position where that would be me. So I kind of held back for a while, just because I was terrified. And then when I finally did come out to my parents, they were actually going through a divorce. And my mother was very focused on, are you happy? Because she wasn't happy. And she was learning how to be happy for herself. So when I said, I'm ecstatic, are you kidding? I've come to terms with who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm ready to let you into that part of my life. I'm thrilled. And she was, as long as you're happy. My dad took a lot longer. I don't know if you'll get the reference. Folks here in North America will, but my father was very much Archie Bunker. No, I can tell. No. So it was All in the Family. It was a sitcom in the 70s, I think early 80s. And Archie Bunker was very much the head of the household, white, privileged, go get me a beer, racist, homophobic, he was just a terrible curmudgeon. And my dad kind of fit that bill a little bit. Over the course of the last few years of his life, that changed drastically. And he ended up being one of my biggest supporters. And
wow.
And that changed a lot. So, yeah.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for sharing this memory in life. Thank you. Ready for another one?
Yeah, you bet.
Let's do it. Okay, GP, next question for you is, if you could be an animal, which one that would be and why?
I love bears. I have bears everywhere. There are bears everywhere in my house. Pretty much in every room there's a little bear. There's Halloween bears, there's Christmas bears, there's teddy bears, there's painted bears, there's wooden carved bears. I'm definitely the bear of the house. I'm the furry one. They're very majestic creatures. I've only seen wild bears a handful of times, even living where I live. It's not uncommon to have bears close to the city here, but it's an unusual occurrence when you do get to see them. When we go to the mountains, definitely. But yeah, they're massive. They're huge, and they just lumber, and the thickness of and they're powerful, and the claws on them are insane. They're very interesting. They're my favorite.
I must tell you, share a story with you. The first time I came to Canada, and it was summertime, 4 years ago, or 4 years ago. And of course, people, you know how people in Canada love camping. It's a must. And so my best friend, he's French, but he lives in Montreal, and he does a lot. He loves camping. And of course, when I arrived there, he said, okay, first weekend, let's go camping. I said, okay, let's do it. And then, so, you go there, you pay for the, the place where you're gonna drive and put your tent and everything. So through this journey, when you paid, you got the wood as well to the fire and everything. And we were kind of driving to the place where you meant to put our tent. And I was just talking to my friend. He was there, I think, 2 years, at the time. And I told him, I said, look, have you ever seen a bear in your life since you've been here? He said, William, I've been here for 2 years or 3 years, and we do a lot of camping in different areas, different places, and I love it almost every weekend. But actually, I never seen one, can you imagine? And I was like, oh my God, I'd love to see one. You're not gonna believe, JP, what happened. As soon as I said that, we were kind of turning around the streets in the forest, and this little cub just crossed the street. And I was like, I got so panicked. I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't get my camera, my iPhone. And this black cub just crossed, and he was kind of afraid and looking back like that. And I was like, oh my God. And he stopped the car and I took a picture and he was like, William, let's go because for sure his mom might be around. And I was like,
yep.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And he was so upset with me. I said, I can imagine you just arrived and you already saw a bear. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, that was like, it made my whole trip. Like just this little moment when I saw this black cub just crossing the street. It was beautiful. I was like, wow, it was amazing. So yeah.
You're very fortunate.
I was, for sure. And I couldn't stop like talking about it. I couldn't stop. And it's very, if I had my phone ready, like just to make a video or take a picture, because it was so fast, you know what I mean? So when I took the picture, I need to zoom and it was quite far, like it was going up, but I still can see this little like face just looking back like that. It's just
They're
cute.
So cute.
Yeah, they are so cute. But he said, you don't want to see his mom around, so let's go.
Yeah, they're very protective.
Right, JP, I have 3 questions left for you, okay? Let's do it. Next question for you is, what's the best and the worst of being yourself?
Ooh. You asked some really good questions. They're hard, they make me think. The best part of being myself. I would say the best part of this is this is gonna be really smarmy. The best part of being myself, I really count myself fortunate that I have somebody in my life that I can share everything with. He's actually in Mexico right now, and he's been there for the winter, and he's got our dogs too. But we message every day, we FaceTime every second day. Like, when you have somebody to share your hopes and your dreams, your anger, your frustrations, everything, all of it, because all of it, you don't want just the good parts, you want all the parts, right? I really count myself fortunate because I know a lot of people don't get that. And I've had it for 24 years. Wow,
very lucky. And what's the worst part of being yourself?
The worst part? Oh, I usually, despite all the dark demons that like to hide out in the back, I'm usually pretty positive and an optimistic person. So I don't tend to focus a lot on the bad things. But I would say that through the writing process and like I have 3 novels that are published, one that's coming out in May. I signed 5 publishing contracts in November, so I have a whole bunch of projects that are coming. I still have that little piece of me that's like, you're not that good of a writer. We call it Imposter Syndrome, and I think everybody who's a bit of a creator or has that creative streak to them will understand that. Because you build something, you make something, you put words down, you create music, you sing something, you dance something, and you're putting your heart out for the world to see. And there's always a little voice in the back of your head going, that wasn't good enough.
And saying that, where do you think this little voice come from?
If I knew that, I would make a lot of money in therapy. I could bring everybody and go, come on, kids, let's get rid of your imposter syndrome. So for myself, when I hear that, I have to take a bit of a step back and go, why do I feel that way? Is there something that I've done in my writing that I'm not happy with? Am I not proud of it? Because if I'm not willing to put the work in and release that book to the world to read, then maybe I haven't done my work with it, right? So I take that imposter syndrome and I turn it into maybe you can do better. Now, having said that, you don't want it to rule your entire world, otherwise you'd never finish a writing project, but that's the last one.
Oh wow! Summoned.
So when you summon a demon.
That's one's that gonna come out in May.
This one is the first The first in the series.
The first one,
and then the one that comes out in May is the second one, and it's called Cursed.
They're open. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all about gay male witches, and they're all a bit bearish.
And all of them, they are connected with each other, or they are different stories?
3 different stories. This one is about the beginning of the end of the world. One reviewer said it's like the TV show Supernatural.
Wow.
Right? But from the demon's perspective, if the demon was gay. And this one, Magic or Die, is kind of a cross between the TV show, the TV show and the books, The Magicians and X-Men. So it's all about people who have lethal paranormal abilities. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Very good. Good one, JP. We have 2 questions left. Let's do it. You are a good dancer, I can see. Next question is, did you have any imaginary friends, and what was their name?
Could not tell you what their names were, but I did. I had 2 imaginary friends. They were both animals.
Wow.
Yeah. So, which is a little unusual. I know most kids when they're growing up, like my brother had an imaginary friend. I remember that. His imaginary friend's name was Domo.
Wow.
Why I remember that, I have no idea, but I do know that one of my imaginary friends was a giraffe.
Wow.
The other one was some kind of animal. Just, yeah, but there was 2 of them.
Very good. Right, ready for the last question?
I am.
Let's do it, JP. Let's do it. JP from Canada. Before the last question, people watching the interview, would you like to start a career as an author, as a writer? What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
Oh, finish your first book, or your first poem, or your first whatever. But when you have a finished product, then you can start that journey, right? You can get an editor, you can get a cover artist to help you make the book or what have you, but you got to have something finished to start with. And then I would say it's really hard after you've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into writing something, especially as lengthy as a novel, but give it to somebody who has the qualifications to edit it. Don't be afraid of what they might tell you, because they're going to tell you some terrible things. You can't have this, you can't do this, this is wrong, the grammar here is incorrect, and that's okay. You can always take that information and make what you had originally put down better. And that's what their job is to help you make it better. So finish something and then take critique and turn it around into making it the most shiny golden piece of art you can possibly make.
Oh, I love the message. Very good. Last question for you is, tough question now. How do you think you'll die, or how would you like to die if you could choose?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny that you should mention this, because I spend a lot of time thinking about it. My grandfather, I think, died the best possible way. 86 years old, he was getting ready to go see grandma, who lived in the home, still lived in his own house, and he just dropped. Just dropped. It was like Grim Reaper came for him. It was his time. He was done. That to me is perfect. Either that or peacefully in my sleep. Unfortunately, both my parents died from sickness. So my dad had cancer, my mom had Parkinson's, and watching that, it's so hard. I don't want to spend the last 5-10 years of my life being sick and then having my body fail. I would much rather just go.
See. Yeah, I think everyone wish just go to sleep. That's it.
Yeah, you're done now.
You're done now.
It's like, okay.
Ready for the next one? Yeah, like ready for the next one? JP, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give out some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Religion.
No, thank you.
One word for love.
Oh, warmth.
Money.
Fame.
Family.
Good times.
Life.
Death.
Sex.
Ooh.
Ooh. Politics.
Politics? Oh. No.
Fear.
Demons.
Friendship.
Circle.
Desire.
Want.
Regrets.
Oh, embarrassment.
Success.
Happiness. That's, oh.
One word for wish.
Wish. Genie.
And one word for happiness.
Oh, there's so much wrapped into that. William, that's tough. Husband.
Right. One word for Canada.
Snow.
Actually, I was Christmas time there, and for the very first time in my life, I spent Christmas. It's snowing, like a snowing day. Also, another gift.
You know what? It's beautiful. It's so pretty, especially when you've got the Christmas lights and the glow from all the different colors bouncing off the snow. It's beautiful. I just don't need 6 months of it. And we've had a very, very mild winter this year, but we've had a couple of weeks that were like minus 35, minus 45.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cold sometimes. So that's why we have a house in Mexico. You know, escape, go away.
One word for author.
Storyteller.
One word for summed, your first novel.
Summoned?
Yeah, one word.
One word for that? Witchy.
Very good, very good. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely husband for a coffee, and I'm going to ask him, what is the most beautiful thing about JP, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What he would say?
Well, if he sees this should be interesting. What is the best thing about JP? I would say he sees me as a bit of a dreamer. That kind of sometimes has some negative connotations, but when I say that, I would mean more somebody who sees the possibilities and has the outlook to chase after all the happy ones. And the one thing that JP probably should really focus on doing, grounded in reality. It's okay to chase your dreams, but make the goals realistic.
Wow, interesting. Let's play now JP and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the news one more time.
Okay.
JP, you can ask me a question now.
Sure. Okay. Where were you born? Where do you live now? And what's the story of you getting from where you were born to where you are now?
Right. Do you have another 2 hours for us to talk about? I'm joking. Okay, so I was born in Brazil in a very small town called São José do Rio Claro. It's a very small town where at the time I think was only 12,000 people or 7,000 people. It was very small. After that, when I was 12 years old, I moved with my parents to another small town as well in the same state where I was living. When I was 18, I went to the capital of my state called Cuiabá. And I lived there just for 1 year, 18 to 19, because 19 years old, I had the opportunity to go to Portugal. And I lived there for 5 years. And after that, I moved to London, where I'm living now since 2007. So it's been 17 years since I've been living in the UK, in London. And so, yeah, it's been a very interesting, beautiful journey since I left Brazil when I was 19 years old. And I'm so grateful. It's so funny how life takes you in a direction that you're not expecting. Portugal, I never thought one day live in Portugal. I never thought one day living in London, in England. And I'm so fortunate that I had the chance of living in Portugal, where I could see where my language came from, yes. Portuguese. And yes. It was very interesting as well to see how different the accent, the words they used, that when I arrived there, I couldn't believe they were speaking Portuguese because I couldn't understand a word. I was like, what? I can't believe I'm in a country that speaks Portuguese. So I'm very grateful that I had the experience in my life, because I'm so glad because just living there, I learned a lot. I made friends for life. And I found my place here where London is. I think London is my home now, and I'm so thankful as well to be here because, I couldn't see myself living somewhere that I think I fit so well in London. London is so big, it's full of people living here, nationalities, different part of the world, and I think I found my place here, and I'm very happy to be here for sure.
It's one of my favorite cities in the whole world.
It's interesting, it's so beautiful to just see so many things going on at the same time.
It's beautiful architecturally. It's beautiful, and it's very metropolitan. And the people walking up and down the street. There's so many different languages being spoken, and I always found the people in London to be really well dressed when they went out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And Soho is so much fun. So much fun. We had such a good time in Soho.
Yes, London is a very welcome city. I think people, when they come to London, they have the best of their experience. I think it's a very good place to be for sure. JP, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
I had an awesome time. This is fantastic. I feel so honored that you asked me.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I think nowadays we are so busy with our lives, you know what I mean? There's so much thing going on in our lives. But when somebody take the time for us, I think it's a special moment. And I feel very special that you took the time for the interview. Thank you very much. But before you go, I would like to share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires your life.
Something that inspires my life. It took me a long time. Oh, I wouldn't say a long time, but it was a hard lesson to learn. How to live comfortably and be comfortable in your own skin. We all have our journeys to go through. We all have our challenges, and regardless of what they might be, because everybody is different, learning to wake up every morning and go, I'm okay. I'm okay who I am. And I pray that everybody in their lifetime gets there, because it's such a relief when you finally do.
It's a beautiful message, and it feels so comforting. Listen to hearing that, because sometimes you forget about things, and when you hear something very powerful and special, it reminds you. You know what I mean? It gives this positive vibe. Okay, you know what? Be yourself. Try be good with yourself. You know what I mean? You have just one tool. Be yourself, so use it. Yeah. JP, regards to your husband, to your family, and keep in touch. Thanks so much for the interview. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, First, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.